So today we're lucky enough to have Richard Ford, who's come
I'm the lucky one.
to talk about his new book Canada at Shearer's today. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
So how are you finding Australia so far?
Well, I just opened my eyes and there it is.
It's pretty easy to find then.
Nice day like today. It's a joy to be here. It's a long journey to come.
Yeah.
30 hours from where I live on the east coast of the United States, but it's worth it. Yeah.
So I read that you started writing Canada in 1989. Why did you put it aside for so long? And what brought you back to the story?
Well, at the time I put it aside because other things that I was writing, which is to say a novel I was finishing, came back to me and I had to do the edits. And when I put it away, it just never occurred to me at that point to go back to it. And now I think in retrospect, maybe I just didn't know enough at that time to write the book that I subsequently wrote.
I also read that
you never know. You never know when you do something, at least I don't, why I do it. Later on I figure out why I did it.
Also, I read that you put it in the freezer. Why did you do that?
Because it was an old habit of my mother's, who was a Depression era child, and they lived in wood houses out in the country, and they were always experiencing, they had open flame fires and things like that. Houses burned, and so they felt that if they put things in the freezer or the refrigerator, that when the house burned, those things wouldn't burn.
Oh, that's amazing.
I've never known if it was true.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? Any other novels in the freezer at the moment?
I have a long essay about my father, which is in note form, and I don't have anything else. No, that's not true, actually. I've got 4 short stories.
Do you think you'll revisit them and turn them into novels?
I know I'll revisit them and finish them as short stories.
When you started writing Canada 20 years ago, did you know that there'd be the bank robbery and the murders in the novel, or did that part of the story come more recently?
They came more recently. When I started it, I just knew that it was a novel about a 15-year-old boy who was going to cross the border from America into Canada. I didn't know why, and I didn't know what would happen to him when he got there. So those were things I had to make up later on.
So it's a novel that's a lot about consequences. Why did the idea of consequences interest you so much?
No, because I think just from practical life experience, that's the only way I ever learn anything, is to notice what happens after what I do, how I feel, what other people feel, what then is brought into play once events, seemingly important events, occur. So I just thought, well, that's probably how most of us learn morality. Most of us learn how important our lives are by the consequences of our behavior.
Was Canada a setting that you'd always been interested to explore?
Yes, I'd always wanted, I would say since I was in my 20s, to set something in Canada. And actually, it's not the first thing I said in Canada. There's a story in A Multitude of Sins called Dominion, which I also set in Montreal.
Apart from setting, are there any particular features in writing fiction that you enjoy the most?
Well, I really enjoyed writing that bank robbery. That was really fun. And I really enjoyed actually writing the murders. They were fun too. But for the most part, I sort of try to treat every day the same. So if I'm writing something that's very exciting, or if I'm writing something that's very difficult, or if I'm writing something that I don't enjoy writing, I try to make it all be the same so that I don't get too carried away on some either downward tending or upward tending swell of emotion, and so I can be back there the next day to do it.
Do you have a particular routine while you're writing a novel?
Well, I have a routine insofar as I do it every day, on Christmas and New Year's and Easter and on my birthday. So I do it.
No holidays.
No holidays, no.
So Canada is quite different stylistically from your previous novels, especially the Frank Bascombe trilogy. Was it difficult to leave Frank behind?
No, because I don't really leave Frank behind. I have Frank's voice in my head always, and I have notebooks full of notes that I make that are in Frank Bascombe's voice, should I ever want to return and write another book.
Well, so I found Canada really, really moving. Did you find you were moved while you were writing it or editing it or rereading it?
When I got toward the end and I wrote part 3 made me cry when I wrote it. Then when I read the book aloud to my wife, which was about a year ago right now. We both cried when we got to the end of it. So I think that's a good sign when you can write a book that makes you cry.
Yeah,
you've put something in play that's of consequence.
Well, Canada's a really wonderful book, and thank you so much for having that quick chat with us.